God, I'm hyped.
That was a good fingle.
Yeah, you like that? Wow. Yeah. Welcome to the Hat Chat podcast with your hosts, Chris Trott,
Ross Hornby,
and I'm Alex Smith.
Oh no!
There he is.
I had to work out which way to turn while still remembering my own name. It's
Thank
a lot.
you.
Great, and this is episode. Sorry, I duck out the way for you.
That actually worked. That worked. Obviously, that's a very visual joke. Didn't work for the podcast. Yeah. Welcome to the podcast. It's episode 33 on the 5th of June, which is the 84th day since we've been locked down ourselves. It's maybe less for others, but there you go. 84. There's a number to it. I worked it out. But that is the specific day.
That really does make it seem like a long ass time. Holy shit, 84.
It does, 84 days.
Wow. I want to say a huge thanks to our Fingal creator, Togan Rabbi. Probably butchered your name. Yes. Sorry about that. They do have a Bandcamp if you want more of that cool stuff.
Nice. So
search for togan.bandcamp.com. There you go. There you go, Togan.
Lovely.
Enjoy that.
Oh, that's a little Fingal promo. Personally. We're ramping up the Fingals. Yeah, I did. I thought it was good.
If you do have a link to your personal music creation site when you create a Fingal, we'll add it in. That's fine. Not many people do.
Why not?
So you can rep yourself. That's fine for taking the time to make us a Fingal. And of course, you can submit your Fingal to hatchat@hat-films.com. So yeah, please send them there. We got loads coming through recently, which is nice. But we can always do more because some of them are really dog shit, and a lot of you are tone deaf. So,
yeah. I mean, I wish you were lying. No. they're all good in their own right.
That's the nice thing about the thing about
levels.
musicians and artists in general is they're totally not worried about negative feedback. That's the thing. You know, if you tell them that we are genuinely receiving dog shit and yours might be one of those ones we grade as dog shit. They love it. That's what an artist is fantastic.
Yeah. But if you're listening and you've made a Fingal, yours is good. Your one is good. So
yours is good.
That's all you got to think about.
You're the hero of this story.
It's all the other ones.
We're in your campaign. Yeah. This is your RPG. We're just NPCs.
So what are we going to talk about?
I think you left your phone here at mine, mate. Can I just pass that over?
Oh yeah, please. Thank you.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just gonna put.
Thank you, Alex.
Oh,
appreciate
there you go,
that.
mate. All right, so
nice.
yeah, no worries.
I lost the cover.
Wait, what happened there?
Wait, what? That's
another visual gag.
That's very strange.
It's another visual gag.
Another visual gag for the audio podcast.
Oh, we all own really expensive iPhones. That's basically that visual gag.
Yeah.
Joke.
Yeah. Capitalism.
Ooh.
I'll sell mine for flour. I actually found flour the other day. Jackpot. After 83 days. Honestly.
What does it cost you? What did it cost you?
It cost me. I had to sign some documents. It was that expensive. So sign some papers for it. But I actually finally got some.
Solicitors involved.
Yeah, solicitors were involved. But yeah, finally got 1 bag of flour, which is just a miracle, really. Now I can finally bake something.
Bake with it?
What do I bake? I have no idea.
You're gonna make donuts?
I can make anything. The world is now my oyster. So there we go. Things are looking up.
Everything in Ross's diet is flour based.
It is now.
It will be now.
So the world is in shit. Dire straits.
Yes.
Bad stuff's happening all over as per usual. Crisis in lockdown. I can't either. But social media can.
New things happening all the time. Yeah.
It's a fucking nightmare.
I just go for a cycle ride, guys. Go out in the sunshine, cycle through the trees, and forget that anything exists outside of that little moment. and that's quite nice. You don't have to cycle, obviously. You can just be somewhere where you can't see everyone else, and that's quite liberating. There's no way. Sorry, somebody's having a drag race outside my apartment.
Nice.
There's no way that you can digest and distill and like what
Stay
am I trying to say?
of.
Like when you kind of like
Just
rationalize. There's no way you can
following
rationalize
every single thing that you're seeing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I don't know. I just don't think you can do it. I try not to.
Yeah.
It's a natural thing to try and work out the answer to something, isn't it? Like it's a natural part of your brain. You're trying to work out why something like that is happening and why a person is the way they are. But I don't think we're smart enough, guys. I don't think we've got the capacity.
No. There's too many variables.
A lot of dumb stuff being said as well and acted upon in the world as well, which kind of reiterates that point. I don't want to get too doom and gloom in the Hat Chat podcast, but yeah, it's stupid. And obviously,
what was the best thing that happened to you yesterday?
Best thing that happened to me yesterday. Great question. Playing a stream with my dear two friends, Ross Hornby and Alex Smith.
Oh, yes, it was. Oh, wow!
Really?
That's lovely.
That was the highlight of your day.
Fantastic.
I was going to say like the peanut butter and banana smoothie I made. That was kind of the highlight of my day. I was like, oh, this is really nice.
Oh, I had a nice smoothie yesterday, actually. Yeah.
I actually tried. I tried those giant buttons. Oh right!
I tried those giant buttons from Marks and Spencer.
I finally got some of those gigantic buttons, and they are gigantic. They're massive. When you said giant, I assumed like giant buttons as in the Cadbury ones, but they're massive. They're like a chocolate bar.
He's larger again.
Yeah, they're massive. But that was a highlight. I had that after the stream yesterday. That was good. I mean, that's the highlight.
About this big.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got one. There, Jesus.
That is big. That's a disc. That's about an inch wide, like a little bit, maybe a bit bigger than an inch, or maybe it is an inch wide. I don't know, but
hold on,
they're big.
Compare to scale.
Did you eat the whole bag, Ross? Be honest.
Yeah, I did. Well, I ate half of it. Yeah. I shared it with my girlfriend. I'm not that cruel. I didn't eat the whole bag of Freddy. It's all mine. Every single giant button.
2 bags.
They're so large though. You can't possibly need all that. I wanted them gigantic. You should have ordered your own. You mean you want 20 gigantic buttons that were like each the size of a Freddo?
Yeah. Oh yeah. They're Moorish though. So
they're so.
That was my highlight.
Yeah, it's a great. I'm glad you're part of the cool gang now. The gigantic button gang.
That's how you get into a cool gang. Jesus Christ! I wish I'd known that when I was younger.
Buy into it.
Who's grading cool gangs? Like, who is there a board that manages what is a cool gang and what isn't a cool gang?
I don't know anymore.
All gangs think they're cool.
I was never even close to a cool gang, so let me know.
Right.
I mean,
we think we're cool because we're in the gang. That's it.
Oh, well, we're in our own gang, so we can call ourselves cool if we want to. But in turn, that makes you uncool just by saying that you think you're cool. Okay.
Oh, shit.
So that's the boomer moment.
Yeah.
Boomer.
It's
a lot to keep up with, isn't it? There's a lot to stay on top of to maintain the cool gang sort of level.
Yeah. I haven't tried to keep up. So
I think that's the thing.
Okay. Well,
if you start trying,
you've been jazzifying your wardrobe up, haven't you?
You noticed my jacket.
Hello. I did notice the jacket. Yeah.
To go with my graduation background. Yeah. Getting ready for the photo op. I'm buying in. I'm getting bored at home. And realizing that my wardrobe is full of black t-shirts that are getting shrunk and covered in mochi hair, and it's all just band shirts as well, and just wear jeans. So I went
really?
on.
Do they say like bad things on them?
What do you mean?
Banned.
They're banned for a reason. Are they banned for a reason?
What does it say on them?
I could only think of really horrific things just then, so I'm not going to say anything.
Jesus.
Yeah, so I thought it was time for a change up. And
trying to
I hate shopping.
Adultify your clothing.
I hate shopping for
just
clothes.
Before this could actually be a sponsored segment, guys. This is exactly what a sponsored segment would sound like.
Oh.
It would be
so like perfectly integrated.
Smooth.
But he's legitimately telling me something he's bought. Is this what you mean? So
yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
If it becomes
this is about a service, right, Trott?
Yeah. Sorry, I was eating a gigantic button.
He's fucking gobbling. He couldn't resist.
I really couldn't. It was right there. Yeah, I went on this website. I'm not going to say what it is until we're sponsored by it. But basically, you have a person on the other end, and you tell them all your measurements and stuff, and what kind of styles you're into. Then you go through like a load of pictures of people wearing clothes, saying, "Do you like this? Do you like that? Do you like this? What kind of shoes do you like?" Huge like breakdown. Then they take your data, sell it to third-party companies. But at the end of it all, you get a package through from a stylist on the other side, which is a person in a warehouse that has a knowledge of clothing, I assume, and puts things together. But I got it, and the packaging is amazing. So first of all, have you ever had Swoon delivered to you before? The ice cream store.
Of course I have, Trott. I'm a man of decadence.
Is this a different ad?
No, but the packaging is super similar. I got like a cardboard box. The parcel tape has like their logo all over, all fancy. Then you open it up and you get a little envelope, like a green envelope inside that saying, "Here's to the new you." And then you get like your clothes are all printed out on a piece of paper, all different like combinations and varieties. And then you open up. Well, it's very nice to open all these little like T-shirts and things like that. And
fantastic customer experience. I see.
I can't fault it, honestly. But I refuse to say their name until we're sponsored. But I'm having a great time with that.
Did you Did you measure yourself and like send their sizings? Send your sizings.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
They even drill it down to the fact.
I'm very good at measuring myself.
No, you don't need to. The way they do it is you say it's based on real world examples. So when you buy T-shirts, what size do you usually get? And when you get them, are they usually feel too big or too small? And then it's like a drop down of like they're sometimes a bit too tight, or they're always a bit boxy and baggy. So they can kind of judge it based on the average medium is a little tight on this person, so we'll go for this. So yeah, it's interesting, and it makes me happy.
You got results then. You got results out of
it. It's shit that's like I said. I'm a closeted rock star from the 80s. I don't really feel like wearing guy liner and perming my hair because I don't think the world's ready for that again. So
not yet.
That's what you said to them.
Yeah, I literally said I enjoyed dressing up as that fake rock band that we created, but I'm not comfortable wearing it all the time. So is there something in fashion right now that matches that aesthetic? So they came up with denim jackets.
But that's a fairly decent brief for them. If you went back to them and said you like dressing up as a horse, but you don't feel that dressing up as a horse, have they got any clothes that would make you look more like a horse?
We've got
that's a more difficult brief.
Yeah,
variety
of short hair, fur coats.
Do you think they would take that seriously?
I don't know. But you're paying.
Okay.
What can we think paying for it?
Horse. You don't pay until
look more like a horse. You don't pay
until you get your box and you try it all on, and then you choose which items you want to keep and which ones you want to send back. If you keep them all, you get like a 20% discount on the lot, which is pretty nice.
Right.
So it encourages you to do more.
I guess so.
So do you feel more like it's almost like you're more of a grown up now, if anything, not the jeans
big boy now,
random skater t-shirt like me and Smith seem to go with.
It's kind of like a in between.
Or the shorts, I guess.
I've gone back that way. So like in my 20s, I used to wear like polo shirts and chinos and boat shoes, right? And I've decided that I don't want to wear that anymore. I don't know why, but obviously comfort is a big deal for me. I like comfortable clothing a lot. I like nice clothing as well, but for my day-to-day, comfortable clothing is great. I guess. But I like the shirt jacket, whatever that is, that you've got on. It looks nice. I would like that. I don't think anyone would sniff at a personal stylist. So, any service that even offers a reflection of that, I'm sure is very enjoyable.
If me and Trott started going to the office in a full-on suit, would you feel like you had to kind of match that eventually? If it's
absolutely not.
2 months in, we're still wearing the suits. Do you feel like, what are you guys doing? We're being professional in the office for some reason.
You would be getting glances from us as well. Like, really?
Yeah.
As you walk in.
Like, is that a ketchup stain?
Like your standard grey suits and like business style suits, and I'm just there in a t-shirt and shorts, and we go to a meeting. And it's like, so the two guys, they turn up in the suits. What's with this guy in the t-shirt and shorts all the time? Like, is he their like child? Is this a civil partnership thing, or
just like, Are they his lawyer? What the fuck's going on?
Yeah. Also, just how uncomfortably warm and sort of chafy that would be sitting in our office all day. Like, God damn.
It does get hot in that room.
There's also a lot of videos we probably couldn't make in suits. But sure, it's a look, you know? What if that was something that we just went for? Or we brought back the 80s just blazer on black t-shirt look.
Yeah.
Where I think it's... who did I see wearing it? I think it's in that sketch, the SNL sketch.
In the last 20 years?
Yeah. Essentially. But there's like a sketch with Will Ferrell and Jim Carrey in it where they've all got doing their 80s thing.
Oh, that one,
because they're all loaded up on coke and they're just like bouncing their heads around going to parties and shit.
Yeah.
We can dress like that.
That Amazing. Really good.
Well, I'm in. As soon as lockdown's over, of course.
Yeah. We'll suit up. We'll go to a warehouse and suit up.
Nice. I mean, we have a warehouse. And there's progress being made on that warehouse, I think. We're in talks with an electrician to actually put some plugs in there. So
no one has it. So, like, I feel like the warehouse thing feels like a whisper in the wind for some people in our audience who are just like, what the fuck is this warehouse they keep mentioning every now and then? Where like, they don't have a warehouse, they do have a warehouse. The secret warehouse they've never even visited. We've got a fucking warehouse, guys. All right? We've never been to it. Smith's been to it. He's got a key for it. We haven't been in it.
Keys.
That's it.
Wait, none of
you have seen it. Of the week.
You've been to it.
Yeah, but we haven't seen it since that first time we were like, this is a cool warehouse, let's get this. Then 3 months later, okay, we'll sign the papers, and then you all got to stay inside. That's it. That's the info, all the info you need. And that is our warehouse. We will use it eventually. We'll make some good videos with it. Currently no videos being made there.
Nope. And therefore no videos being made on the main channel. Our main channel, which stupidly we put all our gaming on a different channel. How business savvy of you all.
Yeah.
We still get comments like
that. I feel like we made a very firm decision at the beginning of the year to do that, and I feel like going back on it now would be just how can you repair that now? You kind of have to go with it and
lockdown hasn't made our plans work very well, but we're gonna stick to it. And Hack Gaming is doing really well. It's on the up. Yeah. Everything's in the plus, which is nice to see in the analytics, which means more people are going over to it and checking it out, realizing that Craig edits all the videos now, and it's all as it was on the main channel, just on this channel now. And thank you for doing that. I appreciate that, for looking at it. But yeah, if you only listen to our podcast, maybe check out some Hack Gaming. If you're bored, which I know you are, if you're still in lockdown. All the videos that we've been doing recently, particularly Rocket League, having a great time with it. So we've been playing Rocket League.
The Rocket League. The lore in the Rocket League is really growing as well. Like the Chocolate Boys are coming into their own. The Chocolate Boys, if you don't know, are the audience and the team. But of course, they're all encumbered in one thing for us.
Yes.
And everyone's chomping on double deckers and Twixes in the crowd as we score goals. It's very emotional. It's like a true sports team.
Anything with any form of nougat, you know?
Yes.
Like anything they can get with nougat these days. That's a real craze going through the Chocolate Boys audience and crowd out there. A lot of season ticket holders as well are really getting into their nougat. So keep an eye out for that one.
Nougat. Is that how you hate nougat?
Do you remember that like pink and white package, like that big bar that you used to get?
Yeah.
I always hated that. I never liked it.
Well, it's like a marshmallowy. Isn't that just a bar of nougat?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It feels weird saying nougat like nougat. Is it said in a different way?
I don't know. I think that's how you say it.
Nougat or nugget.
Nugget. Tasty
nugget. But yeah, that's the kind of stuff you'd get at like fairgrounds and shit as well, right, Trott? And it tasted super cheap. Like
that's every time you say that. That's what the memory it brings up is that bar of the white and pink packaging. Horrible stuff. Anyway, that's my experiences with that. Chocolate Boys, though, yes, there's a whole. We're trying to get a football style jersey, t-shirt. to go out. We're just trying to. The merch team is obviously in lockdown as well. Everything is a little slower than it would be, but we want to get it out. It'll be hilarious, and
it'll be hilarious.
Just arrange fixtures and matchups and make it a real thing. That'd be good.
Yeah, we want to do like tournaments and stuff in Rocket League and see if the Chocolate Boys can see their way to the top. And we could get Craig to edit them in a funny way where there's like commentary boxes and stuff. That's just my blue sky thinking.
Sky's the limit. You know, we could even develop our own chocolate.
Oh my God!
Tasting and making our own chocolate.
Wow. That sounds amazing.
Like, we can do anything. Holy shit!
They should be gigantic buttons.
Cash. Yeah.
Call up
Mr.
Cadbury.
Incredibly easy to make. The simplest form is a button, I imagine, rather than like something complex like a bar. But yeah, we could try and make our own chocolate.
But how we could do it is literally just buy a load of cheap advent calendar chocolate, melt it all into one giant. Is it Bain Marie? Is that what it's called? What is that the name of it?
Yeah, like
the process.
Formed cake tin, or are you talking about the?
Wait, how am I thinking of? What's it called when you
glaze the edge?
No, where you literally just have a bowl over
Tempering.
like boiling or like No, fuck, I don't know.
We
clearly aren't experienced enough to do chocolate.
So a Bain Marie is basically a water bath. It's a double boil technique. So you put a metal thing in a bath of hot water, right, and it'll melt the chocolate.
Yeah,
in it. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Well, what we'll do is we'll melt up all the advent chocolate we could find on the cheap, obviously, and then shape them into the crest of whatever we choose for our chocolate boys, and then bam, profit. How does that sound?
We wait till January 2021. Buy all
Advent
the January advent calendar.
Yes. January's a big one for it. Mm-hmm.
And then we'll go to
and then boom.
All right, sounds good.
I mean, we can make a joke of it as well. Be like, we're adding all old advent calendar chocolate. You know, we could really make a joke of how bad this is. People buy it and they're like, lol. And then they get it and try it. And it really is just grimy, calendar chocolate. Like,
wow, that sounds like a win-win to me.
It's the kind of thing
it just makes everyone shit themselves.
I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. Oh, this is shitty chocolate. This is laxative chocolate. You can actually get
what?
Like joke chocolate?
Dirty shit. Yeah, no, you can get laxative chocolate. Like I've seen it used on someone. Didn't seem to have much effect
on someone.
I remember those gummy bear things were like apparently like the low sugar gummy bears were apparently rife. Yeah. Sugar-free gummy bears, laxatives, just laxatives. They will just make you shit yourself. So avoid those. But they are sugar-free. So there is an upside. There's the downside.
Many of them. They just make you shit your pants. It's like it's because they probably have the same sweetener that's used in like mints and shit. So when you see sugar-free mints, they may have laxative effects. I think it's because whatever sweetener they use is making in large quantities makes people shit their pants. I mean, who doesn't love shit in their pants? That's funny, right?
Yeah. No, it's funny.
I feel like eventually we will end up shitting our pants at a certain age. It might not be that fun.
I do it all the time anyway. When you get too involved in like a project on your PC and you can feel it coming, and then you start like total heading, and then it's like, I can keep this in. I can keep this in. It's all fine. I'm really into what I'm doing. I can't be bothered to go move. As soon as I go take a shit, my motivation goes out when I shit anyway. So keep it going. Boom. Shit yourself.
Wow. And you just basically just Play-Doh in your pants, so it kind of forms around
it's more like a crayon, I'd say.
Like a crayon, so it lifts you up almost. It's solid.
Like realistically, guys, if you're shitting your pants, it's not going to be solid. All right, like a person who gets into the situation where they shit their pants, right? Probably, if we're looking at the Bristol stool scale, they're probably sitting around. Let's have a quick look. Hold on, I'm just googling it. They're probably already sitting around the
Bristol stool scale off by heart.
No, I don't. Type 6 is what I'm looking at. Right now, to be honest with you, like not me personally, but that's what I would expect for a person to have to shit themselves is a type 6, which is mushy consistency with ragged edges. Ragged. Why is it that poop gets ragged? That's what confuses me. Ragged, like fibrous, like somebody's left a tea towel in the washing machine with a lot of mud. Like.
What about dog shits? What about white dog shit? Remember when? Have you ever seen a white dog shit? Have you ever seen one? Yeah, of course. Why is it white? Is it just that it's been there so long? It's like sun kissed.
That's based on the diet that of the dog. Was in dog foods. A lot of calcium, I think, which is no longer in dog food. I think because it was banned.
Oh,
so you don't get so much of that anymore.
Yeah. Well, those one taste better anyway. I'll tell you that for free.
I miss the calcium for my bones.
Well, if your dog still shits white, anyway. Feed it different food.
It's not poo. It's not poo talk. We talk about. I feel like we mentioned poo a lot. Either lizard's poo or Mochi eating poo, or just our own.
Yeah.
I'm fed up of my own poo. Done.
All right. Well, it doesn't stop though. It doesn't stop.
No,
happening.
It never stops. No.
We're going to stop talking about it, but it still exists. It's still a threat.
God damn it! Staring at me from the curbside.
I got some good news about something we purchased a long time ago. Well, I say a long time ago, a year ago, which was controversial at the time. It was our scooters. So now Bristol are going to be one of the first places that is trialing e-scooters. So
yay.
The thing we bought originally that was illegal and apparently not allowed, we're winning now, guys. We're finally able to do it.
Conscientious objectors.
Freedom in that scooter. And they finally realized that, it's just a better way to travel, plus also not as lethal or dangerous as people seem to think they were.
It was weird.
I'm sure you could probably run over some people if you wish, but for the most part, it's just a nice way to get around. If you're not an asshole.
They're no more dangerous than an electric bike, like a hybrid bike.
Yeah.
The acceleration on them is dangerous, I will say, because it takes minimal effort to get up to speed really fast. So you can lose control of them quicker than you can on a bike.
They do have limitations. You can mod them, which is probably the dangerous part. But if an unmodded one is 50 miles an hour, 20 miles max. Yeah, by the way, you can mod them to go really fast. I went 60 miles an hour on a scooter. Jeez.
It's like, what's his name?
My lips were flapping.
The jet-powered bike. He's on YouTube. He made a bunker.
Oh, fuck. Yes. Colin Furs.
Yeah, that kind of modding. Yeah. Imagine that. Jesus.
Yeah. I'd love to make some of the funny shit he makes. We should try and do something one time.
You can just buy mini jet turbines if that's something you're fucking around with. I mean, they're quite expensive. I think they're a few £1,000s, but you can buy a jet turbine that's incredibly loud. I mean, jet turbines are fucking even the little ones are really loud. But you
extremely
can push,
hot, I'm sure, as well.
Yeah, I'm sure they generate some heat.
And the fuel mix is a little bit odd. But yeah, no,
but that fucker will drive that stuff without a helmet.
Yeah. It's insane. I think they just need some laws around it, right? Like helmets are mandatory, and there's speed limits in certain zones, much like anywhere else. Do bikes have speed limits?
The thing is, as long as he's not endangering himself, I guess. As long as he's only endangering himself, because a lot of his stuff he does in fields and stuff like that, right? And so you can't force somebody to do something if they don't care about it, and it only affects them, right? Mm-hmm. Is what I'm getting at.
If they injure themselves in their own private grounds, then
yeah,
fair enough.
It's upsetting.
But I'm happy that electric scooters are getting revised so quickly. Thanks, pandemic. Silver lining there.
Well, they were just demonized so much in that period of time when they were starting to be sold here.
The bandwagon for news articles just condemning them was through the roof, and just reporting on every accident that ever happened, kind of like when planes crash and shit. It was that kind of scale for scooters, and then London cracked down on them. There's a fine, and then you have pictures of police taking scooters off people. It was comparing that to stuff that's happening now that's way more serious. It looks like a joke.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
it's frustrating how much news has to yo-yo of this is an outrage. Now something else. Now this is an outrage. Now this is something else. Now this is an outrage.
Like, outrage.
It's like fuck me. Like can't
journalism.
Just have stuff with like moderation, like some moderation and some like it is getting a bit frustrating. Like the whole Maddie McCann thing yesterday. Like most of the
why is that in the news, man? My God,
it's like. Yeah, I know. So it's just like
big distraction.
I was so shocked to see that filling the front page news on a story that was just like, oh, we think she's probably dead. It's like, oh, fucking no shit, Sherlock. Why are you putting that on the front page when so much more important shit is happening in the world?
Yeah,
you're just like, we think this guy's killed him. It's like, okay,
it's hard not to consider the conspiracy that it is a distraction piece, and that those specific news articles or news websites and papers don't want the other news to be everywhere, or they're trying to suppress it. I know that's controversial to say, and there's no evidence to suggest they're doing that, but why is Maddie McCann on the front page?
But yeah, regardless of that, there's so much other stuff going on that is just so like it's such a non-statement at this stage. Like 13 years down the line, 11 million pounds spent on on searching for her, and now it's just like, we think it's this guy.
Yeah,
and she's
it feels like a
dead.
counter-statement.
Okay, well,
by them not talking about the more serious issues going on in America and around the world right now, them choosing to put that instead speaks volumes, really. It's hard not to make that jump to it.
Yeah.
And the thing is, they're wrong as well. She's not dead. She's in my cupboard.
Ah, she's doing all right then. How old is she now?
It's not even real news.
Dear God, don't wave at her.
Oh.
Jesus. But yeah, no, it's a pointless story that just really I don't really feel anyone got any news out of that. It wasn't new. That wasn't new information. It just isn't.
No.
I don't want to be generationist, but people buying tabloids at a certain age range or certain demographic that would buy into the Maddie McCann story and care about it.
And they've been
now.
trained to be really, really into that story. Yeah,
it would sell. It sells to that demographic.
It is a big story. If they miraculously found her somewhere, that would be a big deal. But obviously, they were just repeating stuff that everyone had assumed for the last 10 years at least, or probably 12 years after. I mean, Christ, after it happened, everyone just assumed instantly, oh, she's probably dead. Okay, that's a sad story, sure. But 13 years later, is it really bigger than the Black Lives Matter movement? Not at all. Stupid.
I mean, it's not like she's like a scientist or something, like a scientist or like a cultural leader. It's just some kid. Yeah. So like,
it's just a kid.
Let
him die.
Yeah.
Alex Smith.
But the thing is, a lot more people have died fighting for a cause in the last few days than it's just it doesn't weigh up very well. It's stupid.
No.
And
no.
Of course,
it was frustrating seeing that.
The Black Lives Matter movement is very, very important. We stated this before we started streaming our podcast.
Yeah.
And to make it clear in the podcast, anyone listening, of course, we support Black Lives Matter, the black community doing this movement right now. Very much behind it. We've made a post on our Twitter. We don't really want to virtue signal or anything like that, so we're not going to talk about it too much.
Yeah, but it does sound a bit like we are. All right,
I know.
We aren't doing anything about it, Trott.
I know we're not doing anything. However, by staying silent, I think is also doing something as well. So
we haven't done that either.
No,
we're covering our bases. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because this is in the podcast, Smith, and before when I talked about it, wasn't recorded. So that's all I'm saying.
Right, okay.
That's all I'm going to talk about. But
this is an interesting one because obviously some people are attacking people for mentioning it, and then some people are attacking that person for not doing enough or whatever. So it's a very controversial issue right now. People are saying that just by saying that they don't agree with racism are losing followers. It's so
the people doing attacking of it, are people not to care about. Maybe you shouldn't care about me saying that to Trott. Like it's all I'm saying. It's like. That my feelings on it is I don't want to. Yeah, obviously I agree with the sentiment, but I feel I have very little to add. I don't know. I don't want to sound disingenuous because the reality is I am just a guy living in a flat in Bristol, not doing very much about it. And of course, I agree and believe in those things. But I also don't want to insult.
There's only so much you can do.
Insult. And I feel like okay, I'm not. I just. I don't want. I hope people are okay. You know, I feel like if we go too hard on it, and in reality you're not actually really doing much about it, it's almost like a charlatan. Not calling Trott this, by the way. I don't think you are doing too much about it. I'm just saying that, like, if I go too hard into something and I'm literally not really doing anything about it, I feel like I'm personally being a bit of a, I don't know. It's just my thoughts. It's really hard to talk about without putting yourself in some kind of pitfall. Like,
well, yeah, because somebody will turn around and say, "Oh, well, you're obviously a racist." Then and it's just like, well, no.
Yeah.
But like,
the thing is,
you can see that you can't. There's only so much you can do from the position you're in right now. And obviously, there are avenues to go down. There are petitions to sign. There are payments you could make to certain charities. But yeah, there's only so much you can do from locked into your room as well.
I think like, what's the harm in supporting it? Like, what does it matter ultimately if you're lending your voice, not a voice, but like a platform? We have followers. People look to us and believe what we say sometimes. We have people that are impressionable watching us. And I think it's important for us to say, this is where we stand, just so you know. And hopefully that has a good influence on the people following us. And to say nothing about it kind of allows the other voices to be heard over what we say. So I think it is important. And I'm not saying this is my opinion on it, but I'm just saying I support this. Let's let the black community be heard rather than me speak for them. That's all I'm saying. Amplify. Yeah, but you say that, but I see it as like, imagine you have a room of discussion, and that's Twitter, or that's online, or that's Facebook, or whatever, or this is that podcast. Imagine a room full of people from everywhere, all the people that have access to Twitter, all the people that have access to Facebook, and all of their different opinions and different viewpoints, right? Say you walk into that room, and you've already got all these people shouting. You got people shouting, you know, Black Lives Matter. You got other people shouting like White Lives Matter, you know, whatever, all this shit. I just as an example, if you then go into that room and then just start shouting as well, what is the point of that? What you're doing is engaging in a screaming match with other people. So saying that you do it because there are louder voices on the other side who will overwhelm them, you kind of need to step out of the room and look at what other routes there are, is what I'm saying. Like, when you see somebody say something, just to say something, just to be like, don't be silent, don't be this, you know, say things like, really you're kind of just in the same field, in the same sphere as these people shouting the other thing, and I don't think it really does very much personally. I think that there are other routes, there are other ways to effectiveness. Like, how did the people who are in positions of power now get there before? Because if you want to get there, then you might need to do those things yourself. I'm not really sure. It's just, I honestly don't think that me saying Black Lives Matter on Twitter will change very much at all.
I don't think it will change much, but it's just like doing nothing does even less.
Yeah.
Well, don't you think?
Like, you're going to stand in that room and just listen to everyone else speak. Like, what does that help? And saying something may not help.
You know, it's a tough situation.
Help, but it's like Ross says, it's even less than at least saying the same that you agree with. That's all it is. It's not harmful to say it. Your Twitter profile is your opinions.
No,
that's literally what it's designed for.
It's not harmful to say it. It's not harmful to say it, and I agree. And it's just what I'm saying is, so Trott, the way, for example, in that scenario, we were joking about not caring about Madeleine McCann, but then there was this switch where you suddenly start talking about Black Lives Matter, where you go into this obviously Black Lives Matter kind of like explanatory. And I don't mean this as an attack at all. I'm just saying that there is a switch there and there was a change, and that's, to me, is hard to compute, because it's kind of like, in reality, I don't really care about Madeleine McCann, and I'm going to say that. Like, I don't. I'm sorry. Like, I don't. And I did think it was strange that yesterday or the day before that it was all over our newspapers, and I think that was probably because it was a redirect to stop our newspapers being covered in, look at what a mess the US is in right now, right? Because they didn't want to show that, or they didn't want to continue that amplification. But why is that happening? And is what the newspapers doing more impactful on our society than simply tweeting Black Lives Matter. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, there are bigger things afoot here, and for sure, if the whole movement didn't happen, if these people weren't out there fighting, and these people who've been doing it for tens and decades, there are people who've been doing this kind of fight for decades, trying to get this kind of emancipation or this empowerment, and racism clearly is still an issue. These are not the things I'm refuting. I'm simply saying that, like, personally, I don't believe that those things do very much.
I disagree.
But I do believe that
the protesting caused the civil acts right movement, and protesting on the streets did cause that change because
sorry, I didn't communicate that properly. I believe that protests and stuff did. What I'm saying is, when you compare it to those things, when you compare it to those protests, when you compare it to those things. Yeah, sorry, that came across completely wrong. I don't mean that those protests weren't important. Right. Those, of course, were. What I'm saying is, in comparison to, say, me tweeting a Black Lives Matter hashtag or putting a black square on Twitter, that kind of thing, I don't feel is in the same ballpark to the change generated by people who actually know what they're doing, people who are actually a victim of this.
It hasn't happened before.
Sure.
We don't have the data. Like, this is new. When have we ever stood up
in a digital
and
age,
said anything?
In the size, scale of things.
So... yeah, I think the jury's out whether it works.
No, we understand what Twitter does. It's so there's this thing called the medium is the message, right? It's a propaganda theory by a guy called Marshall McLuhan, and he said that the way you communicate is potentially even more important than what you're saying. So the medium is the message. Like, if a message is delivered by a newspaper or by a photo or by a song, it changes the impact of that message, right, based on how it's targeted at people. And so Twitter, I think we already have an established model of how that affects things, how it changes things. So cancel culture, for example, is a very social media based cultural effect that we know exists. So like I think that everything you do on Twitter from now on, yes, it will evolve and change, but I think that the effectiveness of the medium and the things it's already exists. We already understand what Twitter does. We know you can tweet a hashtag. We know that it's now an existing joke that people go, I've tweeted a hashtag, I'm part of a movement. We know people riff on that and satirize that, which kind of does make it an established format and does make it have some rules. Again, like, I don't mind people tweeting it. I don't mind. This is just why I haven't done it. I feel like, that's just why I'm less engaged with it personally. Like, I'm not less engaged with the concept of racism, and it exists and all that sort of stuff. I completely understand that, and I do everything I can in my day-to-day life to not live by those terrible principles. However,
the black square thing,
cynical of my own reach.
Doing that on its own, I don't think really did much other than raise awareness to people who may not have been aware of what was happening necessarily, but it's those who are like then following up with actual resources and links to where you can actually support, which I do think is helpful. But I didn't want to post just a black square. I saw several people who I know in the past have actually said racist things posting a black square, and that was it. Didn't even put a message, nothing. So they were just literally following the crowd, going, oh, I'm part of this too, but it's just like, I know you've fucking said awful things in the past.
Exactly.
Go fuck yourself.
I think
that is.
However, I feel like you get people like that do that. You're going to get that anyway with the bandwagoning, with the protests, the riots, people just jumping on a movement to do damage elsewhere or for their own agenda. I feel like we shouldn't allow that to trivialize the statement that's being made anyway. That shouldn't make us decide, I'm not going to take part in that because there are some people that are trivializing the message, or that this black square doesn't mean anything. I think it's important that if we care so much about it and we want change to happen, are we just going to sit and watch it happen and hope that other people do something about it, or use the platform that's been kindly given to us by our audience and kind of say something back? Because there could be someone that's watching us that has not much knowledge about the situation, and we provide them links to be able to learn about it. Like, if 1 or 2 people that's following me clicked on the ally.wiki link and then learnt a bit more and said, like, oh, I understand a bit more about why it's got to a head right now, then I've helped 2 people. And I'm happy to take the hit of follower, like, whatever. I don't care about that, but at least I got through to someone, And I feel like that's where a genuine change does happen. So that's
it's
why
going to take a lot to change any kind of systemic things right now. It's a massive thing to try and change. But yeah, I don't know. Well, I guess we'll see over the coming years whether there is real change over these things. You have to kind of, what's it? You got to break a lot of eggs to make an omelet. There's another fucking term for it, but you literally have to do something outrageous to get their attention and make a change. And I don't know. I think it's a good thing, and it's obviously a shame that there are other things like looting and stuff, which I don't think is considered as part of the protests, which are making things look bad. But
the problem is,
on the whole, the protests I think are a good thing.
It's not clear cut. You get people that are protesting that are black or that support the cause, but also are just troubled people as well that like destroying things, get angry. I know plenty of people that have flaws in their personality on both sides of this, like cops that are like really good but also have like want to shoot people with rubber bullets. It's not so clear cut. The protesters are not 100% right because there are a few bad people amongst them causing more problems that the media then jump on, and that gets amplified. Like it's a spectrum.
I think the whole police thing is interesting. I think that what will happen with the police and the police violence, what I hope will happen is there'll be a review of the kind of people they're hiring, because I think that
and the training.
They're both the UK. In fact, I know 3 UK police officers, and not a single one of them. I'm not saying that the US are like this as well. I've seen plenty of videos of US police officers doing great things as well, and police people. I just think that there's clearly some sort of hiring issue or some sort of recruitment issue where the kind of people that will do these things, will use their power responsibly, like you say, like shooting people with rubber bullets in the face and things like that. Those are the problems. Those are the people that they need to then, whip out of all these forces, because like you say, it is important to remember that there are a bunch of other good people. And I think it's dangerous to sort of say like, not that you did say that, but I think there is that prevailing sort of thing coming out of the US where like, wow, the police are being really aggressive, like really violent. Like, I'm surprised that these police are going through with this stuff. Like, surely as a person, they would go, no, I'm not going to do that to their commander. And I think it's more that there must be
that's what I was trying to communicate. Was like, but it was more a case of me saying the little snippets and shit that you see on social media, and there are an abundance of them, they are still snippets, and there's still context to be had for both sides, and it's important to kind of collate that and form an educated opinion on individual events of individual people. Though there is the argument to say that police and cops, their job is to protect and serve, versus protesters who that's not their job, that they are civilians that are trying to have their voices heard. So I feel like when you see videos of the police breaking that protect and serve thing by doing stuff that's unlawful, I think that has a bigger message than protesters and rioters that are being civilians that are breaking the law as well. So I don't know, I went off track there, but there are individuals.
It is worrying to see someone who's supposed to help you out in a desperate situation is capable of such awful acts themselves. Obviously, probably isolated cases.
And that's the kind of person
be capable of such things, but we're seeing it in real time right now, and it's shocking.
No, this is the thing. Like, it just because. I never. My dad grew up not particularly liking the police. He was a bit of a hippie, to be honest, and probably got in a bit of trouble. But like, something that, like I say, having a few friends that have joined the police force and stuff, and hearing about their experiences and things like that, it's like, there's a vast and varied kind of person that applies to that kind of position, and I think that you need to whip out all the people that abuse that power and use it to hold other people. That's the worst thing of all, I think. That's the most grim element of all of this. So there's people that are just using power to oppress other people, and that's just fucking wrong.
I feel like there's an imbalance,
or taking advantage of a situation,
particularly in America, where gun law is legal in most states. Where I feel like in order to become a doctor, you need to do how much in university, master's degree, and beyond that in the UK, it takes 5 or 6 years to get to a position where you are able to access a hospital where you can perform surgery on people. I feel like being a police officer where you protect and serve, and get given a gun and your responsibility is to uphold the law and protect and serve civilians, should be held just as accountable, and you should have just as much training and strictness to it.
Yeah, solicitors and lawyers will spend, yes, in a similar way, spend years and years learning the law in various different angles, and I'm sure a police officer doesn't have to go through such lengthy theoretical study, but it seems like we're seeing stories of how they're trained in various different ways, and obviously the kind of the calming element of the training is minimal versus the take action and pin someone down to the ground in whatever way possible kind of training. And it's just it has to be, I guess, sorted out at that level. But again, we don't. What do we know as where we are from our position? It's just shocking to see.
I'm trying to do
everyone's feeling emotional about what's going on social media.
Yeah, but I think without me seeing any of this on social media and seeing the movement and the hashtag, I wouldn't be as aware about it. So I feel like I've taken that opportunity because other people have put it in front of me to educate myself, and that's why I kind of defend our Blackout Tuesday in terms. I'm not saying that any of us decided that was a wrong thing to do. I'm just saying that this is why I felt like it was really important to do and say something. It's because it allowed me to at least look into it more and educate myself on both sides of like why the police have been seen to be doing this stuff in videos, why are they acting this way, to get to the psychology behind it, but also why the protesters are so angry and why it's taking so long to get to this point in 2020 when Martin Luther King made a speech in the 60s, and what's happening since in US, in the UK, and around the world as well. Like what's happening in the UK, what's happening in Bristol about it. Like what have I been oblivious to this whole time? This is all shit I'm thinking of because I saw the hashtag and all the news articles about it. So I feel more educated now than before, having taken part in it in the first place, which I don't think is a harmful thing at all, really.
Yeah. And hopefully some real change comes from what's happening.
Yeah. But I feel like I've not said anything in the past about racism other than our fleeting statements in hat chats or whatever, or on YouTube, where it's like, yeah, of course, of course not racist, anti-racist, like, but what have I done beyond that? Like, what happens in a day-to-day? What family members have said some off-the-cuff shit that I haven't called out in the past?
So that's a very good point. Yeah, like, has someone said something horrific that you have never called out just because it feels like that would make the situation even worse, or I don't know.
I don't want to bring it.
But there has been situations where someone said something awful, and you're like, dude, what? Why did you say that? And then they'll try to joke it off or something. You're like, the more we call these things out, the less normalized they'll be within our society.
They're pretty normalized. Yeah, like, I've had family members be like that in the past. And in the past, everyone kind of cringes and just like draws in that breath, and it's like, but allow them to continue. No one calls them out and says like, you know what, that was really, you can't say that. Like, that is another human being, and you're just trivializing and stereotyping that person because you want to get a cheap laugh out of them. Like, no, that's wrong. That's what should have been said, and they shouldn't be able to get away with that kind of shit. Like, it wasn't that funny. Like, it's not worth the joke. But they just feel like they're
sometimes
in a
situation. It takes them to learn about those situations and take them actually seriously, and then realize that maybe it's not a funny thing to laugh at.
There's no audience for it anymore, and no one should give it an audience, I guess. I'm not saying that comedy should be censored or restricted, but it's damaging.
Well, let's hope those people see Black Lives Matter stuff, right?
Yeah, that's what
exactly.
That's
those people it's most effective for.
But if you go on fucking Facebook, the platforms are entirely different. If you go on Facebook and you see a totally different landscape than Twitter. Twitter's all, from my perspective at least, everyone I follow, absolutely for the Black Lives Matter movement. But then you go on Facebook and you see some controversial counter opinions about it. And then those have sometimes more likes than, of course, Black Lives Matter, and it's kind of insane to me.
Well, yeah, it's like, I think I've seen it reposted loads, but there's like a comic sketch of a house burning next to a house that's not burning, and then someone's saying, "Oh, save my house." And, "Oh, what about my house?" And it's like, "Well, yours isn't burning." And it's just like, it's such a simple analogy that why do you have to explain it to? Why do you have to explain to grown adults that that's look, something drastic is happening
There's
here.
So many analogies.
It's not about you right now. You're okay right now. Let's focus on this. And
definitely.
But the fact that they're getting so many likes and retweets suggests to me that people do need to be told in such layman terms of why it is important, and that troubles me. That the general populace, like, that are looking at these things and think, oh, well, that's really, I never thought about it that way before. It's like, you weren't thinking about it that way before? What the fuck?
Well, yeah, but it could be so far out of their their sphere that you wouldn't in some cases, so they just don't even consider it.
Yeah.
So hopefully, it does raise awareness. But
yeah.
So just very quickly going over the thing about what you're saying about Facebook and Twitter are very different experiences.
Yeah.
And I always love this. So Facebook, right? It would make sense that for me at least, it might be the same for you. I have a lot of like my older acquaintances on there, people from Somerset, people from uni, people from the southwest of England, from the southwest of England, right? Yeah. So like, we come, if you're not familiar with the southwest of England, you probably are now if you've listened to us for any length of time, but we come from a kind of like semi-rural, semi-bumpkin-y kind of part of the UK. Like, it's not that bad. It's not like, like Alabama or North Carolina. Sorry to the people from there. I'm joking. It's not like your traditional bumpkin, but people are kind of like a bit more like agricultural and that sort of thing, right?
Yokel and local.
The people you follow on Twitter and interact with Twitter are probably the people you met slightly later, because Twitter, you probably got involved in Twitter as a platform slightly later. This was probably when you were at uni, or when you started traveling with Hat Films, or started meeting new people, doing new things, new gaming environments.
Friends online, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Now, the reason I always love this. So there's a quote from Mark Twain that says, "Travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness." Right, and he basically said that travel, like traveling around, going to different countries, going to different places, essentially gives you a perspective of how other people live, and it doesn't necessarily have to be thousands of miles away. You could go to a different town or a different county or whatever. And I think that's it. So with Facebook, and at least with me, it's a lot of like my nan's on there, and my nan travels sometimes. She goes to like Tenerife, Spain, places like that, but she's not like gone somewhere and like lived somewhere for a period of time, or like
she got a leathery tan.
She's hi Nan, if you're watching. You're not, but like the perspective and the understanding that there can be multiple different perspectives on something, and multiple different approaches to something, and also that cultural implications are not really communicated well on social platforms. So like with Twitter, you don't necessarily understand the cultural background, because like it or not, there are some easy to identify bad things that we all hate, like discrimination and things like that, but culturally countries are different. They have different subcultures, different things that mean that they're individuals in their cultures have different values. So where one culture might really like having shiny things, one culture might much more prefer having space or more cows or something like that. And it's hard to remember that perspective, and people who get to see those things and get to move around a lot and get to travel and get to speak to new people regularly, I think have a much more even view of the world, because they have those multiple perspectives which factor into their own opinion. And unfortunately, the kind of people that we might interact with on Facebook from down south and Somerset and that may not have had the opportunity to see and meet new people and get new ideas and all that sort of stuff. And like we
part
are
of the local echo chamber.
We're smart monkeys and little more. Like if you put one of us little smart monkeys in an environment for a long enough period of time, that monkey will be influenced by its environment, and
it would adapt
I think it's
for survival.
Yeah, it's so ridiculously complicated trying to get a handle on like why racism exists, calling people out on racism when in reality they might be 90 years old and they might have a completely different frame of reference for you. Not saying that was a scenario with you, Trott, but I know I've had like a very, very old man say something inappropriate, and I'm like, man, I could call this guy out on it, but A, I don't think I can change him. B, I don't think he's compos mentis enough to even comprehend the decisions that he's making. Like it is.
How much time do you have to explain that scenario to an individual?
To break down 70 years of prejudice.
Yeah, and that for me is like something that I think is important to highlight. Like it is fucking hard and fucking complicated to influence people as a whole in any kind of way. I just hope, if nothing else, I just hope that, like, with the emphasis on voting and things like that that's been coming out with everything going on, like, I just hope that makes a difference, because, like, personally, I've lost a lot of faith in the democratic system, and, like, I just hope that
you want a nice dictatorship.
On for better days, hopefully.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, on a much minor situation in the UK, obviously, I mean, I was foolish enough to have even a modicum of faith in the current government until the Cummings thing. And then when Dominic Cummings literally just got away with doing the rules that he wrote for everyone else, he broke them, and then he was fine to get away with it. That was the moment I was like, fuck this government. I just don't trust them at all, even in the slightest. I thought maybe they're handling this in a tiny little bit okay way because they were late to it with the coronavirus. But no, fuck me. That was the nail in the coffin. I feel like that was for a lot of people, both left and right leaning politically. That was just, but that's mine. But that's happening all the time in somewhere like America as well. So it felt terrible to see. So I can only imagine it's people in America who are experiencing that on a daily basis must feel shit all the fucking time.
Yeah. It feels a lot more dangerous in America right now as well.
Powerless.
Yeah. Because obviously we can be kind of irate at our government for saying that lockdown, well, to be fair, the negligence of lockdown in the early stages killed people. Let's not be around the bush. Saying one thing and going with that form of science killed a lot more people than had we put lockdown in earlier.
What's with the mask thing? Are they good now? Can we use masks? Are masks bad? They demonize masks at the beginning, saying they do nothing. They fucking make you worse. They'll make you more ill. You'll touch it, and then you'll get it in your eyes, and then you'll like, what the fuck? And now they're like, oh, now any old piece of cloth will fucking save you from the coronavirus. Like, what the fuck is the messaging you're getting from these people? Like,
it's all over the place.
They have no idea what they're doing, and we have to fucking follow them, and it's just shit.
Yeah, and Boris Johnson shaking all the coronavirus victims' hands, all that kind of thing, like making a statement early on, and now he wants EU doctors and nurses to come back to help out.
Yeah, I read about that. It's
fucking
a lot of
insane.
hypocrisy, and it's just hard. It's so much, like we were saying at the beginning. It's so much of this shit. Just it's hard to process it all. It really is.
But I think it's important to, like Smith says, go for a fucking cycle ride, get away from people.
Yeah.
We're not going to be helpful to anybody if we're just constantly overwhelmed and stressed all the time. We can't make informed and useful decisions for other people and help anyone else if we're not calm ourselves and just clear your mind a little bit. Sorry that this hat chat was meant to be escapism for some people.
I know, we did say that, then we kind of but the thing is, like,
do get
right now that's all the stuff we're consuming, and it's hard to not talk about these massive things going on around us. And whilst we're actually locked down, which if anything makes these things even bigger because people aren't at work, therefore you can concentrate on these important issues.
It's our only connection to the outside world right now, and it's been overwhelmed by all these bad things going on. So that's we're all pent up in our little flats and houses.
I can try and find some interesting stories here that that might lighten the mood.
Sure. Let's end on one good one at the hour mark. Hour and 3 minutes, in fact.
What's this one? Okay, so man with shoe fetish stole 126 flip-flops so he could have sex with them. That's a new story from just the end of last month, which says a man has been arrested in Thailand for allegedly stealing his neighbour's shoes in order to have sex with them. He has a fetish for flip-flops and was found with a staggering 126 pairs that he pinched from locals in central Thailand.
Which part does he have sex with? I want to know. Does he go for the big toe?
Identified that he used footage from CCTV set up outside his latest alleged victim's home. So he was like proper, like covert going in and stealing flip-flops, man.
Like really,
I guess the fetish is based on them using the. They have to have used
it's their flip-flop, right?
Yeah, you can't just be like breaking into perfect shape. As Foot Locker and stealing some flip-flops and getting off on them. I think he needs someone to have touched them.
It's the taboo of other property. That's messed up.
126 pairs though. That's a lot. Jesus, he's rapping.
So I'm trying to get inside this guy's head, right? So he set up this CCTV camera, all right, and he's I got it. oh, look at this, like zooming in on the feet part, and like, oh yeah, those are a good pair. All right, so he's like, tonight's go night. Tonight's go night. I'm going in. I've set these cameras up. It's like a heist movie. Fuck it, I'm in. And he goes in, and I reckon part of the sexual excitement, if I was going to try and work out how to sexualize flip-flops, which often I found myself doing, you'd be surprised.
Not hard.
Not hard. I am. But like, so I would imagine it's like the whole act of like stealing the shoe and being like that. Yeah. Like, he's using CCTV. He's like, oh, this is gonna be great. Like a grand, exactly, like a grand scheme. Yeah. That's how I hope it is. Because let's be honest, like the guy's got like some strange switch flicked in his head that we don't have. But like, what is it? Like I
don't know. I mean, did the time with the foot fetish, do you think maybe as well? If anything's like
they laid it out like it's like a drug bust as
thing.
well.
I know. Yeah, they really have. There's imagery here of all the shoes lined out on the floor.
Not one missing pair.
We got him.
There's a couple of single ones.
Were you missing flip-flops? Here he is.
Nah, he comes in like a mustache and
it was me.
What's he doing with them? Is he sandwiching himself between the pair, or is he like just holding it and looking at it? Or like, I mean, when it says he's having sex with them, they've not really described how. And
he's probably putting a dick in them. I imagine. I'd say he's probably putting.
There's like a strap. There's one strap. Are you
all different shapes and sizes?
That's what I'm saying. Are you sandwiching those two, and then just that's?
You put your hands in them.
I'd use the central part of the flip flop, and just smack my pee hole just into it constantly.
I mean, I couldn't think of anything more painful and chafing.
So it starts widening out, and then like when you're on the 126 there, it's like ka-dunk, 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 ka-dunk. That's how far down it's got. Yeah. That's what I'm imagining.
God damn. I mean, there is actually another story that has a similar vibe that someone actually linked me. Here's the headline: Men hired for sexual fantasy break into wrong house. So in a sex fantasy gone wrong, 2 men with machetes entered the wrong house in New South Wales, Australia, before quickly realizing their error. One of them has now been acquitted of entering a home armed with a weapon in July 2019. They had been hired to carry a client's fantasy of being tied up in his underwear and stroked with a broom. The judge concluded that the facts of the case are unusual. Well, no shit. The role play was arranged over Facebook by a man near Griffith, New South Wales, who provided his address to the hired pair. I feel like that's such a... Imagine being that guy going, yeah, okay, I'll fucking run into your house with a machete and a broom. But like, you're running into someone's house at night time. Do you not think there's any other consequence to your action or like risk there?
Wait,
is there a risk assessment for this kind of job?
I can't remember.
Idea. I think it's 43. Fuck it, they're so close to each other.
You'd be naturally cautious of that very scenario happening as well. You're like, right, we actually do need to check. Yeah, we need to check whose house this is. Sorry, before we get into the heavy role play, can we just check? The safe word. Like something like that.
Rather can you hide the machetes in the house, maybe?
Who are you? Why are you in my house? Why are you in my house? Ow! What's with the broom? Like, I feel like
get down on the floor, because obviously, like. The sexual thrill there is I guess the surprise element for the person. So they're probably just going to carry on with it, just like, wait, hang on, you don't fit the brief.
That's the thing. What's the guy breaking in is like, fucking hell, you're really into this role play. Holy shit, I'm buying this.
Hurry up, rush him harder.
This guy's good. This guy is good.
Rush him.
See why you hired me. Brush him quick.
I think they're getting off on it. Right, out the window. Forget your machete. Fucking hell.
Amazing.
That is nuts. But that happened. It says the client cooked bacon, eggs, and noodles, and a short time later, the police arrived at the property, found the machetes in the car, and arrested the hired pair. Wow. So there was a bit of hospitality there. So that's lovely.
Shit. Sorry.
If you are proposed to do such a thing, maybe just don't even bother, or figure out a different strategy, because running into a house with a machete is just fucking stupid.
Make sure you drop the pin directly on the correct house on Google Maps before you send it to the person.
All the facts.
Send a few pictures of your house. Like, this is the house, not this one, not the one next door. That one.
Not my neighbour's. That's an old woman. She
Very
doesn't
aggressive
want you
dog.
Anyway,
that's a good way to round off this wide range of topics today in this Hat Chat. We hope you got something from it. I hope our Patreon supporters enjoyed it, because they are very supportive of us right now. Thank you very much. Patreon.com/hatfilms. You all get credited.
You paid for this.
You pay for this. You did. Sorry. But you'll get credits at the end of the YouTube video. You can check out our YouTube channel. Just look for Hat Chat Podcast on YouTube, and you should come up with a channel. It's just for the podcast, so it's a good way of watching them all back and seeing the visuals. Like the hilarious visual gags that we were doing at the start of this episode.
Course. Yeah, which would make no audible sense.
And yeah, if you like more of these three white men doing stuff, then we got our Hat Gaming channel, where we're playing a shit ton of different games right now, mostly Rocket League and Siege, because we're practicing Siege to play against Achievement Hunter. That's going to be coming up soon. So check out that channel, Hat Gaming, and Hat Films. We'll be back in action once lockdown lifts and we're able to do more cool content on it. Thank you for your patience with that one.
Indeed.
And we'll be back in a couple weeks' time with a new podcast. So we'll see what state of the world's in 2 weeks' time.
In 2 weeks, yeah, Jesus. I mean, I read something about a meteor coming close to Earth, so let's fingers crossed. See what happens.
It's about time.
We've had enough.
We've had a good run.
No,
what's next?
Aliens
next. That will unite us.
Yeah.
One big threat.
Yeah.
Against the planet, like Mars attacks. Bring us together. Anyway, we'll see you in a couple weeks' time. Stay safe. Wash your hands, wash your asshole, and we'll see you all next 2 weeks.
Indeed. Ta-ra.